Hello, it's been a long time. I wanted to hop on here because one of the things that's always bothered me with people who put out their fistula journey stories, if they chose to do so, was that you could follow them and then after a while they'd move on and live their life, and that's very fair enough. Who can blame them? But I always wondered, were they fistula free? Did they have any complications? Was there a recurrence? And I always wish that somebody would kind of pop back on, even if it was years later, and just kind of give an update. So that's why I'm here. It's been years. I am still very happy to say I'm fistula free. I went with, of course, Kshar Sutra, also known as Threads of Hope. I went with Dr. Bapat in Pune, India. And for me, that was a wonderful experience, and I didn't have any complications afterwards. So if anybody is curious, I would certainly look into it. For me, and in my opinion, it was a far better option than any of the surgeries that were offered to me in Canada. Turns out that I was very unlucky and also had inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease. And I wanted to add that on to this video because if you're fighting this fistula battle, you've probably heard that Crohn's disease and fistulas kind of tend to go hand in hand. People can get fistulas without having IBD, but if you do happen to have IBD, you are at higher risk of that happening. So that's something to keep in mind as well, because when I went on my fistula journey initially, I had no idea. That was my first symptom, unfortunately, and yet Kshar Sutra still worked just fine for me, and there's not been any issues. So if somebody is in that position, there's still hope. So I wanted to mention that as well because I have been battling for the past, I'd say 6 or 7 years with trying to find natural healing options for the IBD issue. I know that there's lots of drugs that you can have, there's steroids, there's biologics. For me, that was not a route I wanted to take because those drugs are very, very powerful. They tend to have pretty bad side effects, the potential for bad side effects down the line. And just taking them alone can also cause issues with your body. So I knew that if I went the option of the drugs, that I would have to be taking them for the rest of my life, and over time, there are studies out there that say that the long-term prognosis for people who take those drugs long-term is not typically great. So that was my decision not to go that route. If somebody else wants to go that route, I have no judgment. So I started to look for natural healing options. If they were out there, I thought, well, gee, there's natural healing options for fistulas. And when I first started out, there was no information out there. It was terrifying for me. So I thought, perhaps there's information out there that the doctors don't know about dealing with Crohn's disease or IBS or any sort of chronic bowel issue. So of course, I got told the line by my doctors in Canada that, this is lifelong, it's autoimmune, which in my opinion, just my opinion, that is code for, or doctors speak for, we don't know what causes this, we don't know how to fix it, and they're just trying to kind of keep people alive, which is fair enough. But it never sat well with me because my bowel function was absolutely perfect from birth until 35, and then for me, it was a very sudden and dramatic change. So it was very obvious to me that something had happened. So I went on a journey to try to find out my root cause. And along my journey, I found 3 people that were very influential for me. Kenny Hannes on YouTube, lots of videos. Highly recommend you go check him out. Ginny Patel Thompson talks a lot about bowel issues, IBD, IBS, things like that. Lots of videos. She's got a blog. I would highly recommend you check out her stuff if you're interested. And I chose to follow Dane Johnson's SHIELD program. And along that journey, I, under his recommendation, had something called a GI map test. I would highly recommend you Google it if you're interested. And I took the test and found out that I had 7 different major infections in my gut. also known, I guess, when you talk about your gut microbiome. Say I had severe gut dysbiosis, and that was my root cause. So I went on a protocol. It's taken a long time. It's been 3 years, but slowly getting my health back to where, it's great. Um, so I would highly recommend you look into those three things. So Janie Patel Thompson, Dane Johnson, Kenny Hannes. Educate yourself about the gut microbiome. Educate yourself about, you know, wild oregano oil, anti-pathogen treatments. Visit a naturopath. Talk to them. I was shocked when I went to my naturopath because I was taking something called biocidin to clear off the pathogens in my gut, and I was told by my naturopath that that is well known in the naturopathic community. My MD didn't know anything about that. Didn't tell me anything about that. So I just wanted to put that out there because there's hope one way or the other. If you have a fistula, there is hope for you. If you are dealing with IBS, some form of IBD, some form of chronic bowel issue, educate yourself. There might be information out there. Don't just go with what one person tells you, even me. Go out there, get a second opinion, get a third opinion, try, and don't stop until you find your answer. So anyway, to wrap this up, still fistula free after all these years, feeling so much better with my gut. And I'm very grateful for natural healing. Very grateful for the people who put themselves on the line and tell their stories. It's not easy. I'm very shy. It's not easy for me to get out there and talk about things that have happened to me that have been so devastating. But if it helps one person, it's worth it.